Voice leading is a skill that once I learned on the guitar completely changed the way that I think about chords. So in today's video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain what voice leading is to you, as well as show you some practical examples with diagrams popping up that you can actually practice so that you can get this into your own chordal playing. First of all, I want to start off by talking a little bit about what voice leading is. So voice leading is the practice of having notes, whether it's melodies or whether it's chords, moving as smoothly as possible, and smooth in this case translates to as close to each other as possible. So it comes from a very practical place, the term. Before instruments were widely available and people had access to them, the easiest way and most common way people heard music was with singing. Now, which of these two melodies do you think would be easier to sing? This melody or this melody? It would be the first one, right? Because the notes don't have to move a bunch. And the human voice is not like a saxophone or a guitar where you just push the right button and congratulations, you get the note. You have to hear and know, kind of build an intuitive sense of how your voice and your vocal cords work. So voice leading was the practice of, if we had a bunch of singers in church, would maybe be singing chords. So melodies would be supported by chords in the choir. And they found that it was much easier to have singers, rather than sing something like this, it would probably be easier to have them go. And that's where the term voice leading comes from. It's this practice of having chords move smoothly. Now in this video we are going to be using closed position triads on the D, G, and B strings. These are my favorite set of triads. If you don't know what a closed position triad is, it just means that you have the root, the third, and the fifth, and they're all within one octave of each other. So let's dive in. The first chord progression we're going to look at is called the every song progression very often, and this chord progression goes 1, 5, 6, 4. This is the chord progression that is used in everything from Don't Stop Believing to it's the one that if you've ever seen one of those videos where there's people singing a ton of songs over the same chord progression, this is that chord progression. But so let's do this in the key of C. So our chords would be C, G, A minor, and F. Aha, went front too high there. So if I played you, that already sounds like a ton of songs. Now if we were to take this and we wanted to voice lead, I have found all of my root position chords on this set of strings. So C looks like this, G looks like this, A minor looks like this, and then F looks like this. Now what I want to do here is I want to push those to different inversions. So now rather than playing the C in root position, all of those root position chords, now I'm going to hunt down all of the chords with the third and the bass. So that just means that the root is no longer the lowest note, the third is. That's why we call it third in bass. So my C chord is going to be way up here. My G chord is going to be way down here. My A minor chord is here. And my F chord is here. And then the next set of inversions we need to learn are fifth and bass. And those would look like this. Here's my C. Here's my G. Here's my A minor. Here is my F. And so now that we know the three inversions of these simple triads, we can start looking at ways to smoothly go between them. I am a big fan of starting as low on the guitar neck as I can, or as left on the guitar neck as I can. So the lowest on the neck, or leftmost on the neck C chord that I played was this fifth and bass. So I'm on 5, 5, 5 on the DGB. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this as my C, and now I want to find the G that is closest to this. And that's going to be this root position one. If your brain can't think that fast when you're doing it yourself, just keep trying, and it will slowly get easier over time. But so I'm going from this C to this root position G. Now I want an A minor that is as close to this as possible, and that is going to be this also root position A. If you ever have two chords that are a whole step or a half step away from each other, so in this case A is a whole step higher than G, generally you would stay in the same inversion because you're going to have to move more to do something different. So that's why I go from root position to root position. And now my F chord, all I need to do is put down my middle finger. So here, just to show you the effect of voice leading, this is what it sounds like if I use only fifth and bass chords. So I'm jumping all around the neck. My singers in my choir are jumping all over the place in terms of pitch. The chord progression would sound like this. Now if I were to voice lead it, it would sound like this. Very smooth. Beautiful. Now, I figured out one of them, so now let's take a look at what it would sound like if I started from my next highest C, which is going to be this root position one. So I'm on 10, 9, 8 here on the DGB strings, and I would go from this. My closest G chord is right here. It's a third and bass. My A minor will also be a third and bass. And then my F is a fifth and bass, and I bent one of those notes sharp. So let me try that again. We'll go like this. There. Beautiful. So this is the effect of voice leading, where we get those smooth transitions between chords. Now, if we were to go to our next inversion, we'd be starting way up here on this C, up here at the 14th fret, and now we go from C with the third in the bass to B with the fifth in the bass. Then we get A minor with the fifth in the bass, and then we get F in root position. Flubbed that last F, but there is how we would voice lead all of those different inversions across the neck. And then this is where stuff gets really fun, because once you get into voice leading, it can be very tempting to go, well, everything that isn't voice led is bad. And that is not the case. Voice leading is beautiful and voice leading sounds great, but so does big, exciting, dramatic jumps between chords. So once you've kind of figured out the smoothest and best ways that you can do things, then you can start thinking creatively with it. So maybe I want my song or the chords that I'm playing to whatever song I'm playing to feel like they're kind of an evolving story. So I might start out kind of smooth and chill down here with some nice voice leading. You know, we got... sorry. This is great. Forgetting my chords. But then maybe I want to change. Now I'm flipping between these all. A little bit willy-nilly. Again, I'm mostly following the principles of good voice leading, but I'm letting there be a little bit of a dialogue. And you can take this to as many extremes as you want, because now by the time that you've figured out all these inversions and where they live on the guitar, you're getting better at being able to pick these and see what you want. So for example, if I start on this C chord, I might ask myself, do I want the next chord to be lower? And I go, I want it to be lower. So I'll go to G lower. Do I want my next chord to be lower? Yeah, why not? Do I want to go lower than that? No. But then my next chord could be lower. So that was kind of the same idea. Fall, fall, climb. You could also do climb, climb, fall. Let's see what that sounds like. So here's C. So we're climb, climb, fall. C, G, A, F, C, fall, fall. And I could go even further if I wanted to, and I could go to... This is on a different set of strings, but it's a great sound. So that's just a basic overview of all of the stuff that you can do with voice leading. Whether you're hunting down perfectly smooth, couldn't be nicer, couldn't be closer together. It's an option for sure. Or if you want to get a little bit more creative, or if you want to, have the best of both worlds and do a little bit of both. It's a beautiful sound that I think is often misunderstood. Hopefully you found this lesson useful. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you can like and subscribe. It truly helps me out more than you could know. If you want to take a guitar lesson with me, there's a link to get in touch with me down in the description. I'd love to work with you on whatever's troubling you on the guitar. If you're looking for a different way to support me and what I'm up to, you can check out my Patreon page linked down below. All of my patrons get early access to videos, as well as cool behind-the-scenes sneak peeks, stuff that I don't share anywhere else, and all of the diagrams that just popped up in this video to aid them in their practice. So I'd love to see you over there. If you're looking for a different way to support me and what I'm up to, you can check out my ebooks or video courses, also linked down below. It's a great way to get some more in-depth educational content from me than I can go into in a 10 to 15 minute YouTube video. And last but not least, I have new videos coming out every single Monday and Thursday, so I hope I'll see you in the next one. And until I do, I'll wish you a wonderful day, and I hope you have some fun playing the guitar. Thanks.